The system has awakened. But what does it want? Can our protagonist survive its first command, or will they be consumed by its demands? Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode. Now, I know you're eager to dive right into the action, so let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's find out what happens next. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means everything to us, and we can't wait to share this thrilling adventure with you. Now, as we continue our journey alongside our protagonist, the repercussions of the system's awakening become increasingly clear. The city is plunged into chaos, and our hero finds themselves at the center of it all. With every passing moment, the weight of responsibility grows heavier, and the time to act is now. But amidst the turmoil, there's a glimmer of hope. As the system issues its first command, our protagonist is presented with an opportunity to rise above the chaos and potentially avert disaster. However, the catch is that to do so, they must confront their deepest fears and push themselves beyond their limits. Will our protagonist be up to the task? Or will the system's demands prove to be too great a burden to bear? And then there's the looming question on everyone's mind. How did they get here in the first place? Well, that's a tale as old as time. Our story begins with a simple young man named Kazuma. His days were filled with mundane tasks, working at his family's small shop, helping out his neighbors, trying to save enough money to buy the girl he liked a nice present. Life was simple, predictable, almost boring. It seemed like Kazuma was destined to live out his days in this sleepy town, just another cog in the machine of everyday life. But little did he know that fate had a different plan in store for him. One fateful evening, while returning home from work, Kazuma stumbled upon a hidden alley. Curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to explore. And that's when everything changed. At the end of the alley, shimmering like a mirage, was a massive golden gate, adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and twist like living creatures. Drawn to it like a moth to a flame, Kazuma reached out and touched the gate. In an instant, he was enveloped by blinding light and disappeared. When Kazuma regained his senses, he found himself in a vast cavern illuminated by an ethereal blue light. Before him stood a magnificent crystal, its surface displaying images of the world he once knew, and a myriad of others that were completely foreign to him. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed through the cavern. "Welcome, Kazuma, to the Hall of Echoes." The crystal before him shimmered, and an image of a majestic lion formed. "I am Leones, guardian of the hall. You have been brought here because you are the chosen one, destined to wield the power of the echoes." Before Kazuma could even begin to comprehend what was happening, the crystal pulsed with energy and enveloped him. Images flooded his mind, memories that weren't his own. He saw vast armies clashing in epic battles, witnessed the birth of stars and the death of galaxies. And then he saw her, a woman with flowing silver hair and eyes that shone with otherworldly light. She was both familiar and a complete stranger, and he felt an overwhelming sense of love and loss for someone he'd never met. As the vision subsided, Kazuma collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what he had just experienced. He was no longer just a simple merchant's son. He was Kazuma, the Echo Wielder, destined to save the multiverse from an encroaching darkness. But right now, all he could think about was the girl back in his world, the one he hoped to impress with a simple gift. Was she worried about him? Had she given up on him? 1,000 questions raced through his mind, but there were no answers to be found here. Leones, sensing Kazuma's turmoil, spoke again. "You are still connected to your world. If you wish to return, you may do so now. But know this, if you leave, your connection to the echoes will weaken and the darkness will grow stronger." Kazuma looked back at the shimmering portal, his heart torn between his old life and the destiny that awaited him. But as he gazed into the swirling vortex, he saw not just his world, but the countless others he had glimpsed in his visions. He saw the hope and despair, the joy and suffering, the light and darkness that made up the very fabric of existence. He realized that his destiny was not just his own, but intertwined with the fate of the entire multiverse. With a newfound determination, Kazuma turned back to Leo. "I choose to stay," he declared, his voice echoing with conviction. "Show me what I must do." In the blink of an eye, the cavern dissolved, replaced by the bustling marketplace of a world unknown. Kazuma found himself surrounded by exotic sights and sounds, vibrant fabrics, strange foods and people with curious customs. But amidst the vibrant chaos, a palpable tension hung in the air, a sense of unease that whispered of danger lurking around every corner. As Kazuma navigated the crowded streets, he overheard snippets of conversation that sent shivers down his spine. Rumors of a shadow spreading across the land, consuming everything in its path, leaving nothing but despair and ruin. People spoke in hushed tones of a looming darkness that threatened to engulf the world, and their fear was palpable, contagious. Suddenly, a piercing scream cut through the air, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps and desperate pleas. Kazuma turned toward the commotion and saw a group of men armed with weapons chasing a terrified young woman. Without hesitation, Kazuma sprang into action. With movements that surprised even him, he intercepted the attackers, his newfound strength and speed allowing him to hold his own. But despite his best efforts, he could only delay the inevitable. As more and more enemies closed in, he knew he couldn't win this fight. Just when he thought all hope was lost, a wave of pure white energy erupted from within him, forcing his attackers to scatter. Wary but resolute, Kazuma turned to face the source of his sudden power, and that's when he saw it. A brilliant golden sword materialized in his hands, pulsing with celestial light. It was as if the very essence of the cosmos had been poured into that single weapon, and it hummed with a power that both terrified and exhilarated him. As the sword settled in his grasp, a booming voice echoed in his mind. "Well done, Echo Wielder. Your first trial has begun. So, what's the verdict? Are you ready to take on your own challenges? Remember, the greatest rewards often come at a price. So carefully consider your choices and stay tuned to see how our protagonist conquers their first trial. What will the system demand of them? And will they rise to the challenge? Find out in the next episode. Until then, keep pushing your limits and don't be afraid to embrace the unknown. Who knows what incredible power awaits you on the other side of your own challenges?